Alright guys, this is Fast Like a Bullet. I'm gonna do a video of a couple Guernseys. I like my new Guerns because I write sing. Just thought of it today. So like, comment, subscribe, add me on Facebook, Matthew Hagar, from pictures of a guy in the tunnel and the graffiti and shit. I'm gonna do the Guerns now. Yeah, gonna do a Guerns of Sing.
No, that's what the other said. Don't worry about any shit there. So you jump down. Yeah, what that?
Don't worry about those.
This is how it goes, late night, early AM, skies pitch black, reach in the bag, tick track, then I start spraying, hit the wall red before the cat hits the floor. In the lawn, there's an alley close by, tell by the fence. Up to the park, I'm hiding under the fence. My kicks was muddy, now all my gear too.
Shit, that's all on my finger.
Can't even inch the dog shit like the diamond. Shit is grimy. It's like I'm an A&R and all these balls are rappers screaming outside me. Hold up.
What's happening now? We gave this break all day. Your food there.
Focus. My uncle. Salt. Oh, relax.
Shit. The trains coming, just don't add up. Allow me to explain something. Disguise and undercover disguise, but then you under no lies. I see them hover, just trying to run, brother. Here, people showing different to the last car. I mean, everywhere.
That game's pretty shit. Fucked up the E, but well, that's all I got. Like, comment, subscribe, add me on Facebook. Yep, ladies.